I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars, wait for it, of the iRacing Sprint Car Cup. We are so jacked up to be bringing the sprints back to the NRN airwaves for 2024 Season 1. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us here on a Tuesday night. Doubleheader action coming up for you, too, here. Take a look here very quickly at the Iowa Speedway. This place is bad fast. It was an incredible show last night in the Silver Crowns, and quite frankly, we may even get a better one here tonight, as this is, like I said, this place is just bad fast and absolutely wild. It's been a little while since we've had these 410 cubic inch all-American beasts blasting around our airwaves, but tonight we're going to let the bald eagles fly and take you a run around here at the Iowa Speedway. Let's bring up Mr. Zach Evans. He's going to be one of the first cars out onto the Speedway. The MeFine number 13 entry. GTP Dylan checking in here saying, yo, you guys streaming the Sprint Cup. Let's go. Yeah, buddy. We're excited about it. New feature down there at the bottom. We'll keep you updated on everything NRN produced in the iRacing world. Let us know what you may want to see in the ticker down there in the comments. As D-Love, Derek Love, always quick in the crowds, always quick in the sprint cars, and he's going to go quick time, 21.696. Nice lap there for D-Love. Second quick on the board now going to be PJ Sturgios. Moving up to second quick on the board here. Now, these laps are coming in quick. D-Love even faster, 21.613. Thomas Lewandowski up to position number 2. He's going to be about a tenth and change back. Sturgios, Dan Smith, Rich Foreman. Oh, my goodness. We've got 6 cars within 0.2 of a second here at the front of the field. Is the lap going to be completed for Zach Evans? He's going to line up tonight in at least position number 14. Lap number 2 on the board for Bryant Miller. He's going to move up into position number 7. Let's take a look here and pick up Zach Armistead, making his way off of turn number 4 to complete his second lap. A very full field here tonight. Lap number 2 for Armistead going to be up to, it's going to be 19th position. Oh, Jeffrey Stanton out on the racetrack. Let's pick up Stanton as he heads off into turns 3 and 4. Oh, a little twitchy off the corner. That's what you're going to see out of these sprint cars, man. Oh, God, I love watching them get tail happy. Stanton going to be good for position number 9. Josh Batista just finishing up his qualification run in the Red Ream Rocket. Andrew Bogus also on the Speedway. He's going to be in the number 94. May have a couple of 94s on the racetrack, actually, here tonight. Mitch Drevnovsky, no quick time, 21.515, 21.51 with a 5 for Drevnovsky. That was a heater on lap number 2. Bogus moves up inside the top 5. He's going to line up in position at number 5 as we'll pick up Zach Kruger completing his second qualification lap. He's going to move up into position number 16 with 1:40 remaining in the qualifying session. Oh my goodness, these laps come by hot and heavy, that is for sure. Have some new cameras we're going to be debuting tonight here, and let's see. Well, I thought we were anyway. Oh, it looks like we didn't get them synced over. So Jeffrey Stanton put together a set of vintage-looking cameras, kind of what you used to see the old CarQuest cage cam on the Tuesday and Thursday Night Thunder shows on ESPN. That's what we've got here now for the Silver Crowns. My gosh, Silver Crowns. God, it's going to take me a while to not screw these up. Qualifications are over. It is time to get ready to go racing in the iRacing Sprint Car Cup. And this, quite frankly, is going to be an absolutely spectacular show here this evening. Let's pick up, let's see. I think we have... There we go. We got a decent look there. So let's take a look at this one and show you tonight's starting lineup. Starting on the pole for tonight's race in the Coors Extra Gold at number 21 will be Mitch Drevnovsky, lining up to his outside the street side Classics number 2 of Derek Love. Row number 2 tonight will have PJ Sturgios alongside of Austin Rich Miller. Row number 3 will be Andrew Bogus and Josh Batista. Again, that red ream rocket only about 2/10 back, a little shy of 2/10 back, putting it on the outside of row number 3. Row 4 tonight, we'll have Thomas Lewandowski lining up alongside of Dan Smith. Dan, one of those guys that always pretty quick in these cars. And we'll see what he's going to be able to do here tonight from the outside of row number 4. Rich Foreman and the Rich Foreman Photography. Well, it's the card's number 7, but it'll be the 11 in the timing and scoring system. He will line up inside of row 5 alongside of George's Bryant Miller in the SSR number 99. He will show up as the 8 on your timing and scoring screens. Jeffrey Stanton out of Rockwell, North Carolina, lining up inside of row number 6 to his outside in the Livestrong number 14. That's Ron Quinzel. Jason Steinhurst and Eric Cox will occupy row number 7 for tonight's race as the field's getting ready to roll off and on to the racetrack. Row number 8, Hunter Smith out of Indiana and the Warriors for Peace number 16 alongside of Zach Kruger in the number 17. Row number 9 tonight, Dan Holmes out of New Jersey alongside of Laura Gerhardt in the Kibu number 10. Laura out of Germany. Row number 10 tonight, James Beavers out of Indiana, the DC Shoes number 18 alongside of Zach Evans in the Mefine number 13. Row number 11, a sponsor we're not allowed to talk about, Jesse Matthews alongside of Robert Love in a Brian Clausen throwback. Sir, you win paint scheme of the night. The BC throwback there on car number 20 belonging to Robert Love. Row number 12, Zach Armistead alongside of the Dairy Queen number 23 of John Sluter. And all alone on row number 13. My goodness, it's been a long time since we've had a field this deep. TJ Hassan out of the Northwest. He will make up the single car on the final row here this evening as the field is working their way off of turn number 2 and heading down this back straightaway. This place, it's going to be really interesting to watch from what we saw out of the Silver Crown race last night. How much do these drivers have to hunt for grip? Time of day is different. We're running at night here, and this race only 40 laps in distance. You may not see as much of the dynamic track taking effect, but the fuel burn-off is going to be huge. Seeing Sidon checking in, saying big field and some happy ream noises. Yes, sir, it is. Field's off of turn 4. Green flags in the air. We're underway here in Iowa. Off of turn number 4, Mitch Drevnovsky jumps out to the early race lead. Going to be a good battle back behind, though. Derek Love, PJ Sturgis side by side. Oh, one car hard into the outside wall. Caution flag is out. Looks like that might be Dan Smith going for a wild ride. My goodness, that car is still flipping. That was huge for Dan Smith. Let's see. I think this actually happened a little bit further back, too. Let's take a look and see if we can't pull it up here on the NRN replay. Think of what happened to Dan. Oh, he was already up hard into the outside wall by that point. Flipping, tumbling. Oh, man, he got hit multiple times, too. That car went for a hellacious ride. Let's see. Let's back this up a little bit further here and see. My goodness, that one was absolutely wild. So there's Dan Smith sitting parked on pit lane as the field works under the iRacing safety car. Looks like Bryant Miller is going to make his way down pit lane. And as a reminder, caution laps do not count here in the iRacing Sprint Car Cup. So what you're going to see happen every time the cars come past the start-finish line, it basically gives you an EOL penalty. So everybody cycles through, everybody gets an EOL, the lineup is good, but in that case, the lap does not score. Sidon checking in saying, chassis constructed out of flubber, seemingly. Yeah, that was, he did the bouncy ride there, that is for sure. See if we can't get another look at that from a little bit further back. Kind of have to go hunting with all of the, basically it triggers an incident every single time somebody gets the EOL penalty, and it kind of throws us for a loop here, or at least throws the graphics software for a loop. Looks like the lights are still on the iRacing safety car. So let's take a look at this one again. We're going to go a little bit farther back. Oh, well, maybe not. Still under the yellow flag for this one, so unfortunately only going to get the one look at the replay, but should see the one to go signal this time by the start-finish line. Seeing the ticker showing the info on the Sim Racers Club at the moment. You do not want to miss that show coming up on tomorrow night, Wednesday night. It's going to be NASCAR Next Gen cars at Martinsville Speedway with a 16-point gap separating two championship contenders with 2 races remaining. A series that always runs clean, but has had some tempers flaring of recent. May see a little bit more than that here tomorrow night. So the lights are out on the iRacing Ford Mustang safety car. We're going to get ready to go back to green. It was Mitch Drevnovsky, Derek Love, PJ Sturgios, Andrew Bogus, Austin Rich Miller, the top 5. A little bit of a connection blink there for Bogus out of the 4th position. as the pace car is infield, is under the control of Mitch Drevnovsky. Loud pedals down and away we go off towards turn number 1. It's only going to be working lap number 3. Oh, that was tight between Love and Sturgios in the middle of 1 and 2. Big move by Bogus. He may even try to throw the little soft slider here down into the corner on Sturgios. Keeps the car pinned down to the bottom of the racetrack. Gets that pass completed. Crossover by Sturgios down to 1. We're already starting to see these cars step out a little bit as Rich Foreman sets a new fastest lap of the race. Foreman's worked his way up to position number 9. Oh, buddy, 3 wide for 3rd. This is not a good idea. How about Austin Rich Miller? Great run last night at the Silver Crowns. Picked himself up a podium finish. Now he's battling with Bogus and Sturgios for 3rd. Get you the look from the Exorcist cam. Just out in front of Austin Rich Miller's PJ Sturgios. Just back behind is going to be the 94 of Bogus. And here comes Josh Batista looking down towards the inside part of the racetrack as well. Carrying 140 mile an hour through the corners. Up to almost 170 down the straightaways. Bogus having the look inside. Oh, that's going to be tight. Oh, wow. What a move by Miller. Really drove the car deep off into 1 and 2 that time. Front starting to single file out ever so slightly. Josh Batista fighting with Thomas Lewandowski in the battle for the 7th position. They've got Rich Foreman and Ron Quitzel just back behind. As Lewandowski going to look inside of Batista, he'll get that pass completed easy off of turn number 2. Look a little bit even farther back here. Eric Cox catching up to Hunter Smith. Plus, you're going to have Zach Evans and Zach Kruger battling. It's going to be 14th and 15th on the racetrack. Foreman and Batista send it off into turn 1. Foreman gets around Batista. Now he's going looking for Lewandowski. One car making a big slide off of turn number 2, a little bit deeper in the pack. Long green flag run settling in here as we have now got 10 green flag laps in consecutively. Foreman up around Lewandowski and Batista. Question is now, can he chase down the leaders? Batista, a little bit of a scrape of the outside safer barrier exiting 2. Coming up right after this race broadcast will be the TNT Shock Series running North Wilkesboro Speedway. You don't have to go anywhere. When this stream ends, it's going to kick you right over to that one, and it'll start just a few minutes later. But first, we still got a little more than half of this race left to go. Race leader Mitch Drevnovsky out to a 1.15 second advantage over Derek Love in the 2nd position. Everybody else going to be packed up fairly tight, though. Love, Sturgios, Miller, Bogus, and Stanton all the way back through position number 6. What's interesting is we're starting to see some of these guys heading up towards the high side of the racetrack. You wonder if that's the dynamic track state that's coming into play here. Taking a look at the weather conditions, it is a very nice 69 degrees outside, 73-degree track temperature. A little bit humid, barely a breeze under partly cloudy skies. So track conditions should be optimal. Yeah, seeing Sinon checking in here saying that's what it was last night. They got real loose late in the race. That is exactly right. By the way, Rain is checking in. Thank you very much, Rain. Hopefully we see you a little bit later on here in Season 2 for 2024. So things have definitely settled down as we hit the halfway point here. I have to say a big thank you to all of our channel members, super chatters, everybody who contributes. And quite frankly, you want to see more of these sprint car races, super chats and super thanks are the best way to do it. It tells us that you guys want some skin in the game here, and the more you want to see something, the more we're going to show it. Slide back a little bit here. Pick up Jason Steinhurst and Ron Quinzel battling for position number 10. It's going to be Steinhurst down to the inside. Quinzel in that black and yellow machine up towards the outside of the racetrack. Rich Foreman has opened up a 1.5 second gap over Thomas Lewandowski, and he's starting to catch in on Jeffrey Stanton for the 6th position. A lot of grip hunting going on right now, though. Oh, buddy, Ron Quinzel, huge save off at turn 4. Let's slide a little bit further forward here because this battle is starting to get good. PJ Sturgios, Austin Rich Miller, Andrew Bogus, Jeffrey Stanton. That's going to be 3rd through 6th, lined up behind the 2 with Derek Love. Not much ground being gained by Sturgios, and here comes Miller looking inside off of 4. Oh, that may be a new paint scheme of the night contender. I don't know that it takes away from the BC scheme, but a Miller High Life number 6 is definitely in play for paint scheme of the night honors. Seems like Miller taking a couple of laps to even get this pass potentially set up on Sturgios. But now down to 14 laps to go, this time by the start-finish line. In round number 1 of this championship, and they have got, quite frankly, a absolutely fantastic schedule coming up here, too, over the next couple of weeks. Next week, we head off to Pensacola, Florida. Hold the thought. Caution is out. 2nd time tonight. And it looks like it may be an issue. Let's take a look here and see. Possibly Jesse Matthews having an issue on the race course. Take a look at it here on the NRN replay. Well, seeing Matthews, he was just well off the pace. May have been TJ Hassan, actually, that had the issue here. See what happened to the 24. Oh, little twitchy, little kiss of the wall. Bigger hit inside, gets the car up to the outside of the racetrack, but sliding around in front of people, that will absolutely bring out the caution flag for the second time here tonight. So let's pick up race leader Mitch Drevnovsky. Let's get this one in, too. Love the super chats coming in. $5 from Sign-On with a Jeffrey Stanton appreciation post. Ah, that's beautiful. By the way, if you want to get your comment on the air, that's like a guaranteed way to do it. Yeah, Sign-On saying, kissed both walls in the worst way. Yeah, that was a little bit of right side romance, some left side loving, and quite frankly, neither one of them was any good. I almost feel like there's a Mr. Brightside joke that should be made there as well, but with the field under the caution flag here now, it's going to be 13 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing. Let's do this. We'll take the timing tower down so it doesn't just go absolutely spastic as everybody crosses the start-finish line. We'll bring it back up when we go back to green flag racing. Sign-On says, yeah, just one of those bad nights out happens to us all. It's almost like the terrible walk of shame that you have to do on your way back home, too. Allegedly. So let's see if we can't get a quick word in here with Derek Love as we circulate under the caution flag. And Derek, I can tell you what, the car's been pretty good up there in the second position tonight. What are your thoughts here as the race is down to kind of the last 13 green flag laps to go?
Just looking at the fuel gauge, we got plenty of fuel, but that's always a factor in these cars is when you start to run low on that fuel, you don't have as much weight over the back end, and you really start to spin up the tires. I started to notice it past 5 laps or so, that's going to be the biggest factor. I was just thinking in my head, this restart's going to be interesting. Going to be one to watch where guys spin up the tires, getting it up to speed once it gets up in the RPM. It's going to be the biggest factor. If we can get green, I think we got a shot at it. That's what I needed was this yellow to give me a chance and time to deliver.
Well, are we seeing anything from a dynamic track perspective yet in these cars, sort of like we saw last night in the Crowns?
I think so. We're running a little bit bigger arc into one. I still prefer my bottom 1 and 2 and top 3 and 4. You know, there's a factor into it. You can definitely skate the car around a little bit more. That's a definite improvement. Tough to say on the line because there's always such a line that I prefer here that gonna need a little bit more evidence.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck the rest of the way here. Thank you much for checking in with us.
Yeah, anytime.
So there you go. There's Derek Love. Interesting to hear that maybe a little bit of fuel concern, not necessarily the lack of fuel, but the lack of fuel because you don't, like you said, you don't have the weight over the back end of these cars. I mean, it makes up a ton of the weight in these cars, and the Silver Crown cars drink fuel. These guys are, I mean, straight up keg standing fuel. And the more you take out of the back end of these cars, the more twitchy that back end wants to get. It's one of my favorite things about running the sprint car in the TNT Vintage Indy every May. But green flag goes back in the air. We're back underway, and Mitch Drevnovsky gets a fantastic start. Sturgios may have a shot on D-Love to turn 1. Oh, somebody towards the front kicking a little dust up, doing the Luke Bryan out near the safer barrier. And everybody keeps their foot in it. And for now, we'll stay green. Couple of 94 machines. Andrew Bogus, PJ Sturgios battling for position number 4. Oh, Austin Rich Miller, hold on to it. What a save. He's He's going to lose a handful of spots down to the inside of turn number 1, but that car was sideways and wrecked off of turn number 4. And now Derek Love starting to gain a little bit of ground on Mitch Drevnovsky as Andrew Bogus and PJ Sturgios battle into one. Man, if there was a guy who wanted this caution, it was Rich Foreman in car number 7. That machine locked and loaded down on the inside of 3 and 4 that time. Oh, yeah, you can see just the sideways these guys are off of turn 4. Slide up into the wall. There's big contact. Oh my goodness, how did they not junk those race cars? Holy cow, the 94. All the way down to the inside. I believe that was Andrew Bogus. It was, and that car is a handful right now. Oh my goodness. Now the battle starts to shift forward ever so slightly here as Jeffrey Stanton up inside the podium positions, but Austin Rich Miller fighting back on the inside. Miller and Sturgios get a battle here. What a fight side by side this one is. Five laps to go next time by. Show you the Exorcist cam from on board Austin Rich Miller's machine. That's Sturgios up to the outside. Gosh, these cars are just so twitchy on corner exit. You don't even, it's almost hard to control the camera and know where to point. So we've got one car way down to the inside. Sturgios not going to be able to make the move that time. Swinging around and see where Jeffrey Stanton is. He's right up ahead of Miller. And it's going to be 3 laps to go this time by. And at the front, there's a battle for the race lead. Derek Love has caught Mitch Drevnovsky. It's inside of 2/10 into 3. Popsicle sticks at the start-finish line as Love able to work that inside lane really well through 1 and 2. He makes up a bunch of ground on Drevnovsky, but where does he make the move? Both cars going to head to the high side in 3 and 4. White silk in the air at the start-finish line. This time by, there's 1 lap to go. Drevnovsky covers off the inside lane. Love may have to try something big into 3. Here comes the move. Thought about selling the dummy. Drevnovsky has to run high. Love down to the inside. Slides up the racetrack. Twin checkers in the air. Mitch Drevnovsky gets the win at Iowa. What a finish between Mitch Drevnovsky and Derek Love. Austin Rich Miller comes home 3rd. PJ Sturgios falling well back in those last couple of laps. Jeffrey Stanton does as well. Looks like there may have been contact. But there's Mitch Drevnovsky, your race winner. What a show. Pulls that car off the racetrack, and well, quite frankly, it's going to give us a chance to show you tonight's race results from round number 1 of the iRacing Sprint Car Cup for 2024. Season 1, a fantastic show. Mitch Drevnovsky getting the win by 70 thousandths of a second over Derek Love. Austin Rich Miller rounds out the podium in the third position. Rich Foreman and Josh Batista will complete the top 5. Thomas Lewandowski, Dan Holmes, Hunter Smith, Zach Evans, and Bryant Miller, will round out the top 10 in tonight's race. Second page of the leaderboard is going to see Robert Love, John Sluter, Laura Gerhart, James Beavers, Eric Cox, Jeffrey Stanton back to the 16th position, Ron Quitzel finishing 17th, PJ Sturgios, the first car, 1 lap down in position number 18, and Andrew Bogus also finishing 1 lap down in the 19th position. Neither of those guys are going to be real thrilled with none of those three, quite frankly, are going to be real thrilled with the outcome of this one. Zach Kruger comes home in position number 20. Jesse Matthews, Jason Steinhurst, Zach Armistead, TJ Hassan, and Dan Smith will round out your 25-car field here on opening night. Oh, my goodness. What a show we got out of these guys. Let's take a look here. We've got, let's see. We got our race winner here in Victory Lane, ready to check in for the Victory Lane interviews. And Mr. Drevnovsky, congratulations. A really fantastic drive tonight. Led almost every lap of this thing. In fact, he technically did lead every lap. The car looked like it was on rails, but how did it feel behind the driver's seat?
Yeah, it was really hooked up, especially from the beginning. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with it right off the bat, but once we got to going there in the beginning, I think we had an early yellow, but that first little stint there felt good, and then after that it felt good, and I wasn't sure how it was going to be on the long run. It ended up going a little bit tight, but the yellow there kind of helped me because I think Derek was closing in a little bit, but we were able to hold him off, and I think a couple more laps there, it definitely would have got interesting. He might have got me, but it lasted just long enough.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was he went from being a second and change back for most of the race to really closing in over the last handful of laps. Was that a factor of dynamic track, just the car getting a little tight like you mentioned? What do you think was that difference in pace, or even just a little bit of tire saving?
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the line I was running or how hard I was running the car in the beginning. I think maybe I could make a couple adjustments to the car and make it come in a little bit later. I was glad with how fast it was in the beginning, but it definitely seemed to go a little bit tight there over the long run, and that long run that we had, I used up the right front a little bit, so that kind of played in his favor a little bit for that next stint after the late caution, and he was getting there. I don't necessarily know if he was saving or not. I think most of these races that we do, they're sprint races, obviously with the name of the car, and I think he was probably going as hard as he was. I think he maybe had a little better of a long run car, and I had just used my stuff up a little and was just able to hold him off there at the end.
Well, it was a great show that you guys put on tonight, and now next week we head off to Five Flags Speedway, which, if this is a super speedway for the sprint cars, I would call Five Flags kind of an intermediate track for these cars. How do you think that place fits into your wheelhouse, and are you looking forward to seeing that one coming up next Tuesday?
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun at that track over the couple seasons that I've run with these guys, and I've had some really good races there with Derek and Tracy and Stanton and all the other guys. Yeah, I would agree. It's probably like an intermediate track. We run, this is a pretty big one for these. We run Rockingham and Milwaukee occasionally, and Phoenix is another mile track. So those are some of the bigger ones. But with all the banking at Five Flags, it kind of does act like an intermediate because it's so quick. But it definitely puts on some good racing, and I've had some fun there. I think I'm pretty good there. Just got off of running the Snowball Derby here a couple weeks ago in the super late. So got some laps there. Hopefully we can be faster next week.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you guys back here and taking on Five Flags Speedway 1 week from tonight. And Mitch, congratulations on the win. Before we let you go here, brother, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous you want to get in.
Yeah, I just want to thank guys at EPI and SRS, all the guys that run the series every week and have helped me get better in the car. I started here a couple of years ago, and a lot of the guys that you saw running tonight kind of gave me some tips, so shout out to them, and of course shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. I think this will be really cool to see you guys broadcasting whenever you guys get the chance throughout the season, and I know you guys have been doing Crown throughout the last couple seasons. Those are always good to watch, and that's good racing as well. So thank you to you guys for broadcasting, and yeah.
Well, thank you much. We appreciate the kudos on that one, Mitch. It's this one is a labor of love. With it, this one we do for absolutely no cost to the community or anything else. This is entirely funded by you, the viewer. So anything you want to contribute, we are more than happy to accept those. But now let's bring in our runner-up finisher tonight here, Mr. Derek Love. We talked to him under the final caution flag, and man, I tell you what, you almost hit the nail on the head there that the car was going to be good later in the run. What was the difference for you in terms of pace? It seemed like the car really came into you the later we got in this thing.
I always just build a long run setup, and he almost got too far out where I needed that caution, and man, we just came up about a lap short. I could have really thrown it in there going into 3 the last time, but it just never worth that to risk taking us both out. So I threw it in a little bit on the bottom, but ultimately just kept it pinched down there and didn't try to slide the car up. And man, he brought a rocket ship. Disappointed for our guys back in the shop. We brought one as well. We just needed a little bit better opportunity there and me to pounce on it a little bit sooner.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a heck of a show we put on here tonight, and I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Mitch, in that this place kind of races like a super speedway for these cars. Next week, going to Five Flags, that's kind of like an intermediate track in the NASCAR world. What are your thoughts on running Five Flags? A lot of banking, but definitely shorter than this place is.
You know what? I'm actually going to go load it up and try it out with this new track layout. I'm curious. I haven't tried it yet. So that feels like one that could definitely potentially feel, it's always very tough there, especially on that front stretch without, just this car wants to turn to the left on it. Very light on its feet. So, once you get in a group, those guys, Mitch is fast, Tracy's fast there. That's going to be the guys to look out for. And, I just hope to be up there running as well. And, shout out to my dad, though. He brought it home 11th tonight in this race. So he picked up from 16th to 11th on that last lap and made it through that mayhem I saw in the rearview mirror. Man, that was a disaster.
I was going to say that is fantastic to know that we've got your dad on here. That's going to be a lot of fun to race with him and get to kind of play around and do something that, quite frankly, it's still good old-fashioned family fun.
Yeah, we got a shout out to the league he helps run, the 60-plus league. So they run a multitude of different cars and tracks. They got the next gen. They do some GT3 stuff, some of the late models. I believe it's the F3 he's running this season as well. So look them up on the forums. If you're 60 plus, they're always looking for new people to join and come run with them.
Oh, that's awesome. That is absolutely fantastic. Derek, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. Wait, before we let you go, shout out the sponsors and all that stuff too.
Yeah, we got to shout out the Street Side Classics machine. Man, we just came a little bit short tonight. Last night we ended up in the infield care center. So, man, we hope to be back up in the booth again. See you next Monday and Tuesday.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. And now let's bring in Austin Rich Miller, our third place finisher here tonight. Austin, a really good run, but I got to ask you, Code Brown happened with about, 15 laps or so to go. What was going through your head in that moment when you were sideways off of 4 and it looked like the race might be over?
Yeah, it was one of the things where I knew I would spin the rears, and then I thought it caught, so I stayed in the throttle, and it didn't catch. And then it was a definitely a no-shit moment.
Yeah, and then a great recovery drive back through the field, because you were back, I want to say 8th or 9th position by the time you got the car squared up. How difficult is it to try to make all those passes late in the race? Worn out tires, fuel's emptying out. That car had to be kind of a mess to keep a handle on.
Oh yeah, if you have to pass someone on the low side, you just have to be so aggressive, either slide someone or just really get a good drive off like 4. That's actually why I damn near killed myself off of 4 that one lap. So it's difficult.
Well, congratulations on the third place finish here tonight and a pretty darn good SOF here. It's going to be a very, very good points night for you, Austin. Congratulations on it. And before we let you go, do any of the sponsor plugs and shout outs you might want to get in here.
And just a shout out to the regulars in this league. It feels like a league. This series is super fun with the guys in it. Thank you guys for broadcasting, and that's about it.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out in the booth here with us. And, man, alive. Round one, night one of the sprint cars did not disappoint. That is for sure. An absolutely spectacular show for the iRacing Sprint Car Cup officials kicking things off here for round number one. Don't go anywhere. 9:30, we'll be back on the air with the Indy Pro 2000 cars and the TNT Shock Series running their penultimate round of the season, coming to you from North Wilkesboro Speedway. I cannot wait. It's going to be an absolutely awesome show. But with that, time for us to get the heck on out of here, at least for a little bit anyway. For everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. See you in just a bit, everybody.